Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to share my story because as an international student, I understand all the struggles. I went through it, I promise, and I know it's hard, but I'm so glad that you guys are doing this. It's great to put yourself in situations that give you an opportunity to learn from people and to just hear different strategies that have worked and that haven't worked. So, talking about my background, I got a master's in business analytics from Wake Forest University. It's in North Carolina. Um, that was right after my undergraduate degree. I was an economics major, also at Wake. So, in all honesty, my senior year was really, really hard because I applied to a lot of jobs and I got a lot of rejections. And it sucks when sometimes I made it to the final round, but then they realized that I'm international, so then they couldn't hire me. And as much as that sucks, it did give me tough skin. So, it's important for character development. And I just had to keep going. But eventually I realized that since my economics degree wasn't a STEM degree, so I would have only had 1 year of OPT and companies didn't really like that. So then I realized maybe if I got a master's in a STEM degree, then that would give me more of an opportunity. And also at that point in my academic career, at least, I realized that I really like data because I like to think of myself as a little detective. And as I got more into my econ classes, I really enjoyed working with data and I wanted to learn more of analytical techniques that I heard about. So it was really cool. I loved the business analytics program. It was only 1 year and I learned a lot of different tools like Python, SQL, um, advanced Excel, lots of financial modeling, things like that. So one thing that I can say is if you want to differentiate yourself, just have a lot of tools in your toolkit. And whatever job you do, most companies have their own specific tools that they use, but they do like to see that you're accustomed to knowing different tools. And so you can learn fast. And that's something that's really important because it's not necessarily that you're going to use SQL at your job, but you know how to work with different tools and techniques and work with different people. Um, so my job search process, the way I did it senior year was different than the way I did it in grad school. Both of those times I used Handshake a lot and also LinkedIn. But when I was in grad school, I became obsessed with the career center at my university. I had a career coach assigned to me, but I would email her every week. I would bother her and say, "Hey, Sally, do you have any jobs that I should apply to?" And she was so nice. I love her. And it was nice to know that someone was rooting for me. And also, she was my accountability partner. I knew I had to apply to a certain number of jobs. I knew I had to connect with a certain number of people every week. And again, with school, it gets hard. I understand. And there were definitely some weeks that were worse than others, but I just constantly had to apply. And in my mind, initially, I thought, oh, maybe if I do 40 jobs a week, that would get me one. It's a numbers game, but it's really not. It really comes down to forming good relationships with people. And obviously, it shouldn't purely be transactional. You do want to learn from people. And I've also made so many friends through networking. So just reach out to someone that maybe is in your neighborhood, maybe someone who goes to your university or who graduated a couple years ago. People are really willing to talk about themselves. I promise it'll be a fun little call, just 10 minutes, and you can learn so much about different industries and different jobs that you didn't even think existed. So another thing that I did in grad school was optimizing my resume and cover letters and also applying to very specific jobs that I knew aligned with my background. So I I kind of had a broad idea of what I wanted to be in. I knew that I wanted analytics, but more on the business side. Um, oh, sorry, I thought my video froze. Okay, we're back. So I was looking at specific jobs. So I also used the F1 Hire browser extension. That was helpful because I could just filter out companies that I knew would not be able to hire me. And that made my job easier because out of the, I don't know, 20 jobs that I was applying to a week, I knew that I would not be as likely to get rejected by them just because I'm international. So that was one barrier that I was able to cross. And then moving on, I used SkillSyncer. and other ATS scanner websites. So they'll just help you narrow your word list down to the things that you should have in your resume, and also don't don't try to have every single word that's in the job description on your resume. Just try to include most of them. And in terms of interviews, what I realized was that uh, the people that are interviewing you have seen your resume. They really want to know your story. And how can you tell a story that's cohesive to what you're doing right now, what you've done in the past, and why you want to be there? So it really does come down to storytelling. And when you're talking to an interviewer, don't I know I get nervous too, but don't think that they're rooting against you. They're spending their time talking to you, so they're hoping that it works out too, right? So just try to pretend that it's a friendly conversation, be professional, of course. And then after any interview that you have, maybe shoot them an email, maybe shoot them a LinkedIn text, something, just to thank them for their time. And even if you don't get the job, at least I'm hoping that was a good conversation with someone who works at a company that you were at least interested in at some point, and maybe you'll learn something from them. So, in hindsight, of course, hindsight is 2020. But as much as the job search was a big struggle, it also helped me connect with so many different people, and I've made so many friends through that. So, the biggest advice that I can give you guys is to pretend that you're just trying to make friends and you're just networking with so many people, and you're applying to all of these different jobs because, yes, one of them will be your dream job, and one of them will probably be the place that you'll spend a lot of your time in. But even if it's not, at least you tried. And that was you trying to do something good for yourself, and you pushed yourself beyond your comfort zone. So that's my little story. I know I talked about so many different things, but I wanted to touch on a lot of different points that have helped me in the last couple of years. And again, I am fully empathetic to everything that you might be going through, but good luck.